Something is deeply wrong. The story goes like this. It's the height of British colonialism. An English traveller lands in Africa, intent on a rapid journey into the jungle. He charters some local porters to carry his supplies, and after an exhausting day of travel, all on foot of course, and a fitful night's sleep amidst the sticky heat, he gets up to continue the journey. But the porters refuse. Exasperated, he begins to cajole, bribe, plead, but nothing works. They will not move an inch. Naturally, he asks why. Answer: they were waiting for their souls to catch up with their bodies. Letty Cowman, in her telling of this story, wrote, "This whirling rush of life which so many of us live does for us what that first march did for those poor jungle tribesmen. The difference, they knew what they needed to restore life's balance. Too often, we do not." And that's just a little excerpt from a book I'm reading currently called The Ruthless Elimination of Hurry. And it really stirred in me a thought that we all too often in the West don't let ourselves rest when we need to. We rush about much like those jungle tribesmen and the explorer, busy doing all day, pushing ourselves to the limits, whether that's in the gym, whether it's at work. We go constantly, and we're on the move. And for me anyway, I find that a lot of the time I'm just tired. Now, whether it's because they were not engaged in Western culture in Africa, or perhaps they were just had a bit more common sense than the British explorer. But the idea of catching up, waiting for their bodies to catch up with their souls, it really stuck out to me. Because it wasn't just that they were letting their bodies rest, but it was that they were letting their souls rest. And to me, recently, that's really been a bit of a challenge. I think a lot of the time we think that we can fix any problem by doing more, hustling more, working harder. But actually some problems are only solved by slowing down, relaxing and resting. If you were to break a leg, for example, you wouldn't expect that trying to go for a run on it every day was going to magically fix it and make it feel better. But I think a lot of the time we kind of do that to ourselves with our mental health. We might feel quite depressed or anxious or stressed or perhaps lonely. And we think that by doing more, by exercising more or working more, we are somehow going to fix that problem. And actually, we need the complete opposite. We need to let our souls rest. And by letting our souls rest, they will catch up to our body. Another little quote from this book, from one of my favourite psychologists, Carl Jung. He has this little saying: "Hurry is not of the devil, hurry is the devil." And again, that kind of stirred in me that when we are hustling and hurrying about in our lives, it's so easy to miss things, to not listen to our bodies, to our minds, to our souls, and not listen to God, to that higher calling, that higher power in life. We fill our lives so much with distraction, social media, all of the content that is on TV, on our phones, just constantly going in and in and in. And it's very hard just to find a moment of presence and a moment of quiet to think, to let ourselves just perhaps even be bored. I know that's a bit of a scary concept, but actually just letting our brains rest, switching them off for a time and letting them catch up to our body. You know, if we've been running at a very hard pace in life, we might not just be physically exhausted, we might also be mentally or spiritually exhausted, emotionally exhausted perhaps as well. And as I was saying, it's difficult to fix that problem of exhaustion mentally or physically by doing more. We have to sometimes allow ourselves to take our foot off the gas and stop hammering so hard at life, and just have some time to ourselves, some times of peace and quiet and stillness to really just appreciate and to ground ourselves. And so that stillness and rest helps our selves to catch up, really. It can help the exhaustion. I feel that for myself, sorry if I just hit the mic. I feel for myself that going for a walk, just coming out and sitting in nature, finding a nice tree to perch under, that for me is the kind of rest that my soul and my mind need in this crazy busy world that we live in. I also find that having a bit of a quiet time in the morning, first thing before the world kind of wakes up, I like to get up and spend the first hour of the day reading, praying, journaling, and I find that really helps my mental capacity, and just to reduce some of that fatigue that can so easily and so quickly build up in us. So I hope that's helped you today, and that you just give yourself permission to rest. You know, God even though he is all powerful and didn't need to rest, he still took a Sabbath day, a rest day after the creation of the universe. So I feel that if even God takes time to rest, then that's certainly something that you can allow yourself to. If you liked the video, please do hit the like button and drop me a subscription if you found the video helpful, and I'll catch you in the next one. God bless.